It is hard to believe, but we've already played 8 weeks of football. The final week, week 9, is upon us. The high school regular season. Justin Kenny of the News Sentinel, Glenn Marini here to talk high school football. And really, a lot of the conference championships were decided or essentially decided last week. So we're going to start off with the one that hasn't been. We've kind of been waiting for this matchup all year long. If you're an ACAC fan, boy, you got a treat last year at this one. You've got Woodlan hosting Adams Central. Both undefeated, both playing good football. How do you see this one playing out? Because it is winner take all in the ACAC.
It's going to be tough. I see a lot of the similar things happening from last year to this year. I expect a very close game. Woodland scoring at a phenomenal pace, but Adams Central a little bit of chip on their shoulder. I think they've circled this game on the calendar since last year after the controversial ending a year ago. So they've really targeted this game to really want to come out and show Woodland that they can not only compete but also beat them in 2016.
You mentioned the similarities. I think the similarities start specifically on the defensive side of the football, because you've got both teams yielding just 9.3 points per game, and they've really basically played similar schedules, very similar schedules when you take a look at who they've played, obviously, throughout the conference season. What do you take away defensively? Because both these teams have dynamic offenses, but have put up big numbers defensively in stopping the opposition this year.
The one thing that concerns me about Adams Central is, yes, they're only giving up 9 points a game, but have they faced an offense the caliber of Woodland, where they can go vertical, where they're very quick on the outside, they can get in space and make plays? Can Adams Central bottle up? Can they keep Woodland tight and make them beat them in between the tackles and not let them turn the edge? Those are the concerns for me for Adams Central. They were able to do a phenomenal job of that last year in keeping this game close. Can they do it this year?
I would say both offenses are more versatile, though, than they were last year. I think Adams Central was a little more reliant upon Hunter Bates, although they spread the ball out a little bit more. They still run the same type of offense. It's just they're not as reliant on one single guy. And then on Woodland's side, you know, last year with Justin Durkis as a sophomore, it was kind of like they could pass when they needed to. Now they just pass because they can.
Yeah, it was when in doubt, give it to Mitchell Brand Brocklin last year. And now they're a little bit more versatile. You saw it last week, Trevon McCarter, 3 catches, all go for long touchdown passes. And I think Adams Central, too, Andrew Hammond, while he doesn't have to pass a lot, I think he's fully capable of making big plays in the passing game if need be, which I think is going to be very important on Friday.
When you take a look at that passing game for Adams Central, what did they have to do well? Because the numbers aren't bad when they pass it. They just don't do it very frequently. You're talking about Hammond. This guy's been starting for his entire high school career, it seems like. He's throwing about 45% completion rate, over 400 yards passing. That's not a whole lot for the season, but he's been effective on the ground as well, 7 touchdowns. Looks like he's playing good football in terms of managing what they do offensively rather than having to take to the air.
Yeah, and here's, I think, the big thing for Adams Central. Do you overthink it and say, we're going to try to pass a little bit more to keep that Woodland off balance, or do you just stay with your bread and butter? I think the key for Adams Central's passing game to succeed is you do it on non-obvious passing downs. If they wait till 3rd and long to throw, Woodland and everybody else at the stadium is going to know they're throwing. But if you do it on 2nd and short, if you do it on 1st and 10, then maybe you're able to get some things going vertically, and that will then open up the running game a little bit more.
One of the things I think that's interesting to look at is last year, you mentioned Van Brocklin. Woodland kind of had that power running game, and Rhodes, who's now their number 1 running back, was the number 2 guy last year. Adams Central is a little bit like Woodland was last year, using Drew Schultz, a big guy, to kind of be the battering ram. Is that kind of an interesting, I don't know, way to look at it, because Adams Central is kind of doing what Woodland did last year?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Woodland has gotten more comfortable with their personnel, being able to spread it out a little bit more than we've traditionally seen Woodland be able to do. And now you have those sophomores are now juniors, and they're a little bit more confident in what they can do. But you mentioned it, Drew Schultz is just a beast. Physically very tough to bring down, doesn't really go down on first contact very often. So they're going to have to ride him. He's going to have to have a very good game, I think, for Adams Central, much like Hunter Bates did last year in that big game against Woodland Week 9.
To me, the big X factors going in are, A, can Adams Central throw it, if forced to throw it, and B, do they have an answer for Trevon McCarter? Because he doesn't even lead the team in receptions. Donald Garant does at this point.
Yeah, he's the leading receiver in the area, Garant is.
Garant is, but the speed of McCarter is not something I don't think Adams Central has seen so far this season.
That's the tough thing, is who do you focus on? If you focus on McCarter, then Garant can kill you, and vice versa. I think Garant is your possession guy. Trevon McCarter is your big play guy. And does Adams Central have the personnel on defense to account for both of them on every play? Because I think obviously both of them can beat you in the passing game. So that's going to be the question. Can that Adams Central defense account for all the weapons on the field at one time for Woodland? Because so far nobody has really been able to do that against the Warriors.
Is that the biggest key in your eyes going in? I mean, what's the big key for you, and who do you think is going to ultimately pull this one out in Woodburn on Friday night?
I think you touched on the two big keys: stopping the Woodland passing game, or at least slowing it down, and then Adams Central being able to go vertical if they need to. I just see Woodland as having way too many weapons in this one. I think it's close, much like last year, but it's very tough for me to see Woodland go down unless they come out just unready to play, which I think has been a concern for Woodland. So they haven't been challenged very much. The last couple weeks has kind of helped gear them up for this game, but they're still relatively young. We talk about a lot of these guys being veterans. There's still a lot of them juniors, and you expect to see the importance of this game on Friday, but you never really know.
Yeah, I'll go with Woodland as well, maybe by a touchdown. It's in Woodburn, so I think that definitely bodes well in their favor. And like you mentioned, they've kind of had a while to get prepared for it. On one hand, you don't want to be rusty because they haven't faced a whole lot of good competition recently. But on the other, they have been gearing up for this game for quite some time.
Yeah, and that's the key to me is we say the experience of Woodland. Yes, those guys have a lot of experience from last year, but they're not seniors. A lot of them are not seniors. That urgency you have as a senior is not to be discounted because a lot of those kids on Adams Central, this is their last time to play Woodland. This is their last time to try to win ACAC championship, and that means something. You can guard against complacency, but knowing in the back of your mind that I'm going to be back next year or whatever, that gets into your head a little bit, and to guard against that is very difficult.